From the Dodge Sports Desk, I'm Jenni Carlson, and this is a signing day update. On the phone with me from Stillwater is Andrea Cohen. She covers Oklahoma State for us. Andrea, you went to the press conference this afternoon where Oklahoma State got a chance to talk about these recruits for the first time. A lot was made of the in-state players who are now Cowboys. Talk a little bit about that and just how high are they on the in-state recruits?
They had one of their best years in-state. They got a couple guys that they're really excited about. The two guys from Tulsa Union, Tracy Moore and Jeremy Smith, Brandon Webb, an offensive lineman from Owasso, and Dayton Lowe, the DB from Midwest City, are some of the ones that they really excited about and talked a lot about. And it's interesting because they had a really good year in Oklahoma, but they also had a really wide scope in terms of just out-of-state guys. They're 8 different states, which is a lot for them. Kind of expanding beyond Texas and Oklahoma, which has kind of been the trend in the last couple of years. They got a couple of guys out of Georgia where they have some ties with some of the coaches that are currently on staff or from that area or worked in that area. But yeah, they seemed like kind of the bottom line is they thought it was a really good year for football in Oklahoma, and they were really excited that they got a bunch of those guys.
Let's talk a little bit about the impact of being ranked last season. The Cowboys were consistently in the top 25 throughout the year, really had some high-profile victories. Did that have any sort of impact on this year's recruiting class?
I think it definitely had an impact, and the one kind of good anecdote that Mike Gundy told during his press conference was that he's talking about this kid named Jordan Barnes, a linebacker from Fort Wayne, and he mid-season, he says, you got to think that they've been watching, ESPN highlights. We're on the highlights all the time. We're in the top 25. And this kid calls them randomly, kind of out of the blue, and says, hey, I'm interested. And, he's like, we don't recruit Indiana. So they had to do all kinds of work to check him out and find out about him. But he's a guy that they were really excited about getting. Good student, blah, 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 really good football player. So they were excited about him. But, yeah, that's a guy who they probably would have never gone up and recruited. But he saw them on TV and saw the success that they were having and wanted to be part of it. And so, it's a great recruiting tool, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of these guys that signed today probably won't see the field for a little while, likely to be redshirted, but there are some guys that might see some playing time. Who is at the top of the class and might have the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time for the Cowboys?
The one guy who's I think one of the gems of the class that people are really excited about is Dexter Pratt. He's a bigger running back than what they have now, 6'2", 225 at the moment. And that's a guy that Gundy thinks could come in and make an impact pretty quickly because he brings a different look as far as his size. And he could be, short yardage back, but also Gundy said it kind of reminded him, he says, that guy from Oregon who ran over us in the fourth quarter of the Holiday Bowl, I kind of see him like that, which was kind of a funny way to look at it. But I think that he's a guy that they think could come in and play right away, and he's already enrolled in school, so he's going to get the extra time. So it's kind of like you're a freshman and a half when you get that extra time here in this spring.
All right, Andrea, thanks for joining us. Andrea will continue providing in-depth coverage of signing day for the Cowboys today in the Oklahoman and NewsOK.com. Stay with NewsOK.com for more signing day coverage.
Let's see it.